ego. It has to go to the soul. If we cannot open the soul, because we are soul first, but the ego blocks it off. If we can get out of here and go through the soul, then it all is like a piece of the puzzle of who we are and why we're here finally clicks into place. And so I'm so happy to hear you say that. The other thing was when you mentioned the Course in Miracles, I think you and I started at the same time. Around 94, I heard Marianne Williamson and I bought her book, A Return to Love, and that was it. I had to go buy A Course in Miracles and go from there. So most of us here have read that, and like you say, and I'm pretty sure from the work that I did all those years ago, that was a book that was actually channeled also.
Was.
It was channeled. So
Yes.
speaking of channeling, now this is an interesting, Zequiel, am I pronouncing it?
Zequiel.
Zequiel you say that he was originally a third dimension living here on this planet. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, and then he went to the fifth. So if you can take us there and then introduce us to,
sure.
And then there may be questions, or I would suggest, if you are comfortable, to channel him to see what he has to say to us as a group, and then perhaps people will have questions. But this is for you, Antoinette. So how would you like for this to go today?
Well, so why don't I just tell you now how Zequiel came to me and who he is, and how I channel, and of course we're going to bring him through, and of course you can ask questions. That's the point. But I wanted to have you know that I'm not any different than any of you. I'm just a regular person who studied a long course of a lot of different actions. I've had a lot of different struggles. I've, walked the dark tunnel to get to the end of the tunnel and into the light. And that doesn't mean I don't have difficult days, or my husband and I don't have problems, or my kids don't talk to me sometimes. They're 41 and 36, but when they're with their mom, they're still little girls, so I just wanted you to know that I am just a regular person. So yes, in 2019, after all that study of A Course in Miracles, and really being challenged by my mentor, Tina, to find my inner creativity, I want to emphasize that. She asked me what I really enjoyed doing, and I said, well, I really enjoy cooking. So she said, why don't you go to cooking school and really challenge yourself? Well, I couldn't do that because I had a really large, busy practice. So I decided to do, like that movie, Julie and Julia, all the recipes I could do in the Mastering the Art of French Cooking by Julia Child. And at the end of a year, I gave a dinner for all of my friends. Let me tell you what, it was like I found my inner limitlessness. That was quite the experience. I recommend anybody just diving into your creativity and letting yourself, in my case, burn as many pieces of chicken in the wrong butter, or, I served chocolate mousse and I forgot to put all the chocolate in it, so what? It was, I found my inner limitlessness. And so by finding my inner limitlessness and overcoming that inner perfectionist, which of course an eating disordered person, no matter what your disorder is, I don't care what it is, you have an inner perfectionist in your archetypal, up in your auric field. I found an aspect of my light that could open up in my 8th chakra, which is the way that I connect, the way I was trained to connect to the heavenly realms in order to be able to bring through the guidance of a galactic being. And I was sitting in my acupuncturist's office, and I was just sitting in a quiet, dark room. And all of a sudden, and I had done a lot of light work on my inner light body prior to this, as part of my studies of A Course in Miracles, because of course in the Course in Miracles it talks about the great rays. There aren't a lot of references to the great rays. There are about 13 of them, but the great rays are the great rays of light. And they are what incorporate that vertical column of light in our bodies, where all the chakras then develop into the vortexes of light. My 8th chakra opened, and Zequiel came through. Zequiel is from Andromeda. He is a 9th dimensional being. He has had a humanoid-like life in a 3rd dimensional reality within the Andromedan galaxy. The Andromedan galaxy is the galaxy next closest to the Milky Way galaxy, which we're living in. You can sometimes see it in the night sky. That galaxy has lots and lots and lots of planets, and they did have 3rd dimensional planets in their galaxy, but they don't anymore. I am not an Andromedan being. I'm a starseed from Venus. Ever since I was a child, I told everybody I was from Venus. So my guides are actually Venusian. They're from Venus. Sanat Kumara is the main guide from Venus, but we won't go there. That I say all that to say, Zequiel came to me because I had had all those experiences in life. And I had this large swath of people that I talked to. And he was directed by Archon, the head of the Galactic Federation, to connect with me. And he had never been in connection with a human, and I had never been in connection with a galactic being. I did have a being I channeled in the treatment room named Dr. Sue. He had been an acupuncturist many, 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 many lifetimes, and he came to me and was with me in the treatment room, but he was not a galactic being. He had been human. So we were both very timid, Zequiel and I. So we spent a year just in the treatment room meeting humans. He was quietly with me all of the time, meeting this large swath from the hood to, government agency people, the rich to the poor, the healthy to the dying, and really learning all about the human condition. He's very loving. He's very, very loving. He's funny. I am not a funny person. So the fact that he's funny is kind of humorous to me and very humorous to my husband, because my husband's a funny guy. So he's kind of delighted that there's this thing that is funny that comes through me, because I'm not humorous. So anyway, Zequiel's mission is to make friends with as many humans as possible. We have about 200 or 300 people in the Friends with Zequiel community. They're all around the world. And now you're friends with Zequiel too, which, you can call on him at any time. He is, as a 9th dimensional being, he doesn't lower his frequency into form anymore. He is a mind meld. So he's not going to necessarily come and be an apparition to you that you see. But one of the Friends with Zequiel drew what she just channeled as a form that he would look like if he came in form. It's on the website. You can see it there, but I thought I would show you. He says he calls it a rendering, not a drawing, and he likes it. He said, go ahead and use it. So we don't show it to everybody. It kind of freaks some people out. But I didn't figure it would freak you guys out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here talking together. And he uses the body of knowledge that I have to speak with beings, because he can only use the knowledge that I have, because he's using my body, mind, spirit complex as as the Course in Miracles says, a divine communication device for God. And his whole mission is to teach everyone that you are designed to be a divine communication device for God, that you only need to remove, as the Course in Miracles says, the blocks to love's presence to become a divine communication device for God. And that could look like many things. It can look like voice channeling. It can look like art. You could be a Reiki master. You could be, communication device for God at your job. You could be doing what Lily's doing, Rondi's, working with trying to open that up. Jackie's opened it up. Jane has opened it up. Barbara is working to open it up. It sounds like Louise, you have as well. We all have it. We're all doing it. A ballet dancer is doing it. Julia Child did it. A painter does it. Children do this all the time. All we really have to do is be our inner 5-year-old, right? And assuming we haven't had agreements to have our inner 5-year-old be, the wounded child archetype in full by that point, there's a freedom there too. And his most recent message has been to people like all of us here is that it's really important to know that if you want to move and ascend into the 5th dimension, you need to, undo your inner victim, since you guys do archetype work, your inner victim, your inner wounded child, your inner saboteur, and your inner prostitute, the part of you that sells yourself out to things. Because when we're all in the 5th dimensional reality, those archetypes won't exist. And they won't exist because those are the 4 archetypes that block ourselves to be able to be in unconditional love with another, such that we're able to extend love without expecting a conditional love return. So, for example, my daughter just had her birthday, and I sent her some chocolate chip cookies that I made. I have never made chocolate chip cookies in my life. My kids, I was a hardworking mother. I didn't have time to do those things. I was a single parent. And I think she was real surprised and didn't really know what to do about that gift. And she didn't try them right away. And I noticed that I had sent them with condition. I wanted her to say she liked them. I wanted her to try them right away. I wanted her to, tell me, like, what a wonderful thing, Mom, you made me cookies. Finally, 41 years of my life, and you made me chocolate chip cookies. Well, that was interesting. And, that's me seeing who I am And why am I the way I am? Because we're conditioned to believe that love is conditional. And so I have an inner observer, as all of you, I'm sure, have developed through your connections with Lilly or other teachers. So we're here to observe, witness, accept, and allow what we see about ourselves, how we victimize ourselves with our conditioning, and judge ourselves, and to forgive ourselves, so that we don't have those archetypes running our show, so that we can bridge the gap between the third and the fifth dimension here. That's what I see the fourth dimension as. It's the love that we use on a daily basis in this world we're all living in now, to send love in the most unconditional way that we can, and see what happens. And as we do that, we become more and more of a communicator of love for others.
Brilliant. Thank you. There's a couple of things you brought up again, and then I'd like to go to some of you may have questions, and then we'll just go back and forth until Zequiel is ready to come in, or until
he'll tell me when to come in.
The one thing that you brought up, which I'm really grateful for, so it's a wonderful teaching for me, and I hope for all of us. As you know, some of you know, I channel an entity called Niang. Now, I was introduced to Niang in Bali, but when I'm here in Canada, I just kind of keep her at bay. And she speaks in another language. So in Bali, there's only 3 people that actually understand the language. So before she comes in, the Balinese will bring in these 3 people so they can interpret it. But what you said was so interesting. It took you a year to go back and forth with him, from what I understand. So that's what I need to do, is be patient, get my ego out of the way, and she will come through in my language, in our language, if I continually stop blocking her, because I see that I'm the one that's blocking her, quote unquote, until I'm in Bali. And then, I remember one time when John was there, when I was channeling, he looked at someone and he said, "Oh my God, you can't make this up." And you can't. Most of us can't. But I will now, with what you have said, give it more time. And there's an energy that's flowing through that for me now. I exactly know what needs to be done. And then, because she's ready, I was told, bring her to Canada. I brought a cane and her headdress, everything. But she's an old woman and she loves to chew tobacco. So maybe that ego is in the way more than I actually think it is, The other thing you brought up, which is so thank you, is those 4 survival archetypes. We all know that those 4 survivors live in our first 3 chakras, because that's where we lose or gain our power. That's why, and I love what you said, that if they are in the light, then we can access the 5th dimension regularly. One of the things that, and some of you have heard this story, one time I'm in Bali and I'm there, I don't know why my hand is up. I'm there for a couple of years teaching this work, when all of a sudden Agun Prana, who's since passed, and I are having lunch one evening, or dinner, and we're talking about my work. And he says, "Oh, Ibu, how do you know all this?" And I said, "Well, Prana, it's what I've been teaching, that you've been sitting in class and this is the work I do." And he said, "That's what we call in Bali, those 4 survivors are, in the Balinese language, they're called 4 brothers. And they introduced the Balinese children at 3 months of age to those 4 brothers. So at 3 months, so for the first 3 months, the baby's not allowed to sit down. The baby for those first 3 months are always on top. They never sit on the ground or in a bed. It's always with mom. At 3 months, there's a huge ceremony all over Bali. Every family does this, where they introduce that 3-month-old to those 4 survivors. And how a prana has taught me how to stay in the light of those 4 is every meal to put a small plate. And when I first saw him do this for the first time, I was like, "Prana, what are you doing?" That little tiny bit of meal, that little plate, is for my 4 brothers. So we can do it for our 4 archetypes, because we're we're feeding them the light of who we are in that food symbolically. And that food, what I do sometimes, and I think Tam knows this, sometimes I put it there for my daughter. If I want my daughter to spend that evening with me at dinner, I'll put a little plate out to invite her in. So it's just something that I'm really grateful. I knew that we were on the same wavelength, but we really are when you talk about the archetypes the way you do. So I'm so grateful that you're here. So before we go on, I'm sure you have loads of questions. So all you have to do is put your hand up or just on mute and let us know and just what your question is for Antoinette. No questions yet? Don't be shy. Yes, Louise, and then we'll go to Heather. Louise.
It relates a bit to the 4 survival archetypes. I love that. Thank you. I can just visualize it. It's so perfect. And I like that question. This goes to you, Lily, because what do you do with the small portion of food after? Because part of me would be feeling guilty, like, okay, now what do I do with this?
Exactly.
Do you eat
That's
it?
our ego.
What do you
That's
do with
the
it?
ego.
Do
I
you
just
throw
put
it
it
out?
away. I do, but it's blessed. It's blessed beforehand, right? So then afterwards, I have done intuitively what my soul called me to do to invite them in, whether it's the 4 brothers or Melanie or my ancestors. Then I really am at peace afterwards. When I'm done, it's done. But my ego is the one that can keep me caught in, oh my God, how can I throw this out? So I only usually put just a small little bits on the plate anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Heather.
Be a naive question, but what was your very first experience with Zequiel? What was that like? How did it happen?
Great question.
I started to say that story and then I got distracted away from it. I was sitting in a dark room waiting for my own acupuncturist to have an appointment with her. And literally, it was just a opening and a swooping in, as you'll see when I bring him through. And so it was a speaking out loud. And he has a particular way of introducing himself, which he says, I am Zequiel. I am from another dimension. I am from another time space reality. And then he comes in and he said that, and the rest of it, I don't remember. I was too shocked. So it was a random, quiet moment. And to be fair and honest to your question, I had been, as I said, working with my light, working with my chakra system over many years, you know, to tune, to integrate, to balance, to ground the chakras, to clear the lower 3 chakras of the, you know, historical narratives, my relationship to people, places, and things, to, you know, undo my ego as much as the Course in Miracles had brought to me in those 10 years of study before he came through. So I had done a lot of forgiveness work. So it felt like he could come through and in and down, not just to hear. Although he is using my voice as a microphone and you know, of my voice so you can hear what he has to say. He uses my body in a very animated way often. I don't know what he'll do today, but he comes down, all the way down. So what has developed, Heather, is when I bring him through, my energy sinks all the way down into the root chakra, and I see the red of the root chakra, and I feel like an orgasmic feeling, like Kundalini is an orgasmic energy, which is a little bit different than something called Shaktipat, which I had experienced a long while ago, which is more that like heart opening. he descends way past the heart and into the root, and then comes all the way back up. Goes into the throat, which then the energy goes into the tongue, and the tongue is associated with the heart. So the energy is constantly circulating this way through my own heart chakra, my throat, and through the speaking, but it's deeply connected to the root. Does that make sense to you, or is that too complicated?
That's great. Thank you.
Okay.
That was a great answer. And you know what I'm hearing you say is that he doesn't do any chakra bypasses. He just, you know how sometimes we have a thought, we speak it and we do it, and we don't feel it, or we have a thought, we speak it, we feel it, and we don't do it because we're not putting ourselves into total alignment. So he's coming in with total energy of without doing the bypasses. So well
Correct.
explained. Thank you for that.
I have a
Well,
question.
yes, Anne.
I'm just wondering, did he tell you why he chose you in particular, or do you
Yes.
have some kind of agreement, like what's allowed and what's not allowed? You know what I mean?
Yes. He, thank you for the question. We have a soul agreement. We both agreed to do this work at this time now, because now is the time, as has been said, where, you know, the light has become so bright that the dark is being illuminated. And he and I agreed to come together. Can you say the question again? Because I'm hearing some other things. Can you say it again?
No, I'm just wondering why he chose you in particular out of all
Yeah.
the millions of people.
Right.
And like whether you had this sort of I don't mean like a pre-agreement of your souls, but like an agreement to be safe, or to, you know, like, you know, that he's not allowed to come and just say anything.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought I heard you say.
Okay.
So I have done a lot of work in the dark. I won't go into all those details, but I have a long history of working with dark energies that helped me to see how not real they are. I told you all the like good stuff about my experience. I didn't tell you the dark stuff. Part of why he chose me is because I'm not afraid of the dark.
Boom.
Interesting.
I have had a reptilian being prior to him coming through. I'll share this. I had a reptilian being partner me also. And he came before Zequiel came, and he traveled around with me so he could see that large swath of humanity that I agreed to have as a practitioner. So these two beings wanted to see this large swath of humanity. They chose me because I had this body of knowledge. You know, as I had said already, all the good stuff. They also chose me because of all the bad stuff. You know, if you want me to say more about that, I can. But in that bad stuff, I learned that none of it is real. And so these beings chose me because they knew that I would not be afraid or fear anything, or couldn't handle anything that anyone brought to me. So I do have a portal that I go to in the heavenly realms. I don't do it like in a perfunctory way anymore, but I had done a lot of work prior to him coming through, to establish a connection to a portal. And there are gatekeepers that keep everything that comes through only of the highest good and only of the light. And as somebody said, maybe it was Jane, the balance of how much light we can bring through is often balanced by how much darkness there also is. And we're all here at a period where there's a lot of darkness. So we can therefore bring in a lot of light. We just need to feel safe and good and able to do that. And so we have an agreement because of all that experience and because of my portal and the gatekeepers that I had established. And he does not bring through anything in the strata of heaven, like where disembodied souls hang out. He doesn't lower his frequency into that frequency bandwidth. He doesn't bring in your ancestors who've died. That's psychic mediumship. He's bringing in very high frequency information so that you can understand the blocks you have to your own magnificence. So he's not going to tell you something that is judging or unloving, or will scare you. He might show something to me, but he will use language and information I have to deliver that information to you in a very, very loving way. It's
I just have
very
one
interesting.
question about the darkness. I don't want to get into it, but I just want to know, is it darkness that's just in this lifetime, or is this something that you were aware of from other lifetimes? Because I know I have dealt in dark magics and things before in other lifetimes.
Both, because of course, as we all know, everything's a hologram, right? It's all layered. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But a lot of it is in this lifetime.
Thank you very much. So interesting.
You're welcome. Jane?
So,
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Someone's.
I muted myself. Sorry.
Okay, so can you hear, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Now we can. Now we can.
Okay, because there's a few that have to leave early. So I'm hoping that we can leave our questions until after Zequiel comes in, if that's okay. So we can get started. Thank you. There's something that you said also, Antoinette, that's interesting is, you know, when I'm channeling myself, I understand that we all have free will.
Mhm.
So I love how you said about the orgasmic trance, because normally when I go into channeling for 2 days after, I'm in a laughing mode. Like everything is not to be taken so seriously on our planet. We humans are the ones that take it so seriously. And again, if I have my free will, because God gave me, because I came into this planet with free will, my body will understand if something's trying to come in that just doesn't work for me at that day, at that moment, you know, in time. Good. So if we could go ahead when you're ready. Again, there's a few people that need to leave early, and I'm hoping that they don't miss out on this beautiful energy that you will be channeling. So if you could let us know, and then we'll go to the Jan's question, and then Rondi has a question also. So
who needs to leave early? Just so I know.
Who was it? It's Jackie. Jackie's leaving early, and Pat. Yes.
Okay. So if you need to leave during the channeling, it's not going to upset the channeling.
Good. Okay. And plus it's recorded, so they'll get what they need afterwards.
Yeah.
So do you want to bring him in now, or do you want to go with the questions from Jan and Rondi?
Is there something that you all want to know about? I mean, I've told you a little bit about Zequiel, and is there something someone wants to know about? Not so much about yourself, maybe, but about the collective, or
Well, that's the thing I was going to request, is that whatever, again, leave ourselves open to all possibilities instead of this or that. It's whatever message comes through, either for us as a group or the collective as a whole. Whatever message he has and you have through him today, we are totally open to with light.
okay. All right. Well, I have written down what everybody has presented that they brought to the session today. He'll comment on as much of that as possible. He's already told me that he's going to be doing that. And Jackie had been very interested in what's happening in 2024. And Pat had mentioned that she's been connecting to angels. So maybe we'll just use that, make sure that that is touched on before they have to leave.
Thank you.
And then I think Sylvie is new. I don't know if Sylvie wants to make a comment about how she is, because remember now, Zequiel, I do this for a living, like 4 to 5 days a week. This is individualized work. We don't do a lot of like group channelings. Like Barbara, I work with her individually, and he comes to people to make friends with you. So this, we could have, you know, one big collective message, but I mean, it's more interesting if you get to be spoken to individually.
And thank you for bringing that up, because what I want to suggest also, especially towards the end, and I will definitely put it in our group chat, that if you are interested in one-on-one mentoring with Antoinette, then you go to her website and all the information how to connect with her is there. So I would highly suggest that if any of you are working through things on your own and would like to see her privately, please touch base with her. I know that Rhonda, before you get started, Antoinette, and then you can let us know when you're ready, but Rhonda, you had a quick question. Was it something that you would like for Zequiel to answer today?
Yes, Lily. Antoinette, I'm curious, does he come to other people besides yourself?
Yes, it's really interesting what is beginning to happen now after 4 years of all of this intense connection is there are people who, like Barbara, have been working with him now for several years, or up to 4 years. And he is starting to come through those people. So isn't that interesting? You know, and that's the really wonderful thing. That's the whole thing about becoming friends, is he's trying to make friends with as many humans as possible. So not only do we do individual work, but there are groups that are being created now by different people who have worked with him, who then are doing small group things, like you have your charisma group and your archetype group. So other humans are beginning to channel him, and their body of knowledge is what is used. So we all have a body of knowledge that can benefit others, no matter who we are. And so that's cool.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, Heather.
Can we ask something like more personal?
Yes.
Something that my life is really unstable, and I have no sense of what direction to take for any of it, financial, physical, emotional, any of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I have sorry, Antoinette, before you go, I have a quick question for everybody though. I know for myself right now, if you take a deep breath in and pay attention to your crown chakra, mine is on fire. Is anybody else having that wonderful chakra opening in the crown, you, Rondi? So you know that as she's saying, you know, like he's open to meeting new friends. So just allow when she's talking that energy to flow through you.
Yeah, be totally open. Just really don't idolize me,
No.
please.
Thank
You
you.
know, it's really important that you see that you are a channel, you are a column of light. You can, you know, bring anything through, any being through that wants to, you know, help us at this time to become better versions of ourselves.
You're so wise and beautiful and humble. We are so happy to have you here today.
Oh, thank you. All right, Sylvie mentioned something about the body. So let's just see what comes through about balance and, you know, the good and the taking the good with the bad, you know, family difficulties, balancing energies, being victorious over our victim, alchemizing our dross and turning it into the light, being creative, current times. Let's see what comes through, shall we?
Thank you.
I am Zequiel. I am from another dimension. I am from another time, space, reality. And it's a delight to see all of you. A delight indeed. Thank you so much for coming and letting our dear one drone on and on and on about this and that, because that is how we get to know you. And that is why I am here. I want to know, as our dear one said, as many humans as possible. And if I know each one of you, you know hundreds of humans. So now we know thousands of more humans. And what a delight indeed that is. Now, why do I keep saying delight? Because it is a delight. It brings joy to you. It brings joy to me. And it is of the light, delight. It is a delight indeed. Now, dear ones, that is what I like to call you humans, dear ones. And we call the one that I come through our dear one. I will try to distinguish between you, dear ones, and our dear ones through our discussion. So, dear ones, you are all here gathered together to increase your own light and to increase the light of each other. Remember that. As your light increases, the light of everyone you're with increases. And the light of the group influences the entire region of your planet in which you're all residing at this time. And then, of course, all of you know someone on the other side of the planet, whether you know it directly or not. So you make this large connection and web of light over your entire planet by joining me, yourselves, now in this now moment. An entire web of light is over your planet. You think that you're a small group, but you're infinitely large. And yes, to the dear one who said she must have more patience, infinite patience brings immediate results. Why do we start off the bat with that? Because you're all being called to become more patient with yourselves. Become patient with your bodies. Your bodies we like to call meat suits. We think it is funny indeed, and we hope you will laugh at the idea of your body being a meat suit. Remember, it is only animated by your spirit. Your spirit is who you really are. You are eternal spiritual beings who, yes, when you are 3 months old, you are tipped to the heavens and the Milky Way dips all the energy into the crown of your head that is going to be your destiny path, as our dear one was mentioning. So, to all of you, embrace your destiny path. If you're having family troubles or body pains, or feel like the dark is darker and the light isn't brighter in your life, or if you feel like the light is so bright and the dark is hardly there, it matters not. What matters is that you observe yourself and you come to accept yourself and allow what is to be, because all is well, no matter what. And it doesn't matter where you are. What matters is that you remember who you are. And who you are is God, love, light. You are God, you are love, and you are light. And your troubles, your pains, your agonies, your struggles, your challenges are all yours. They're your creations. They're what we like to call your forgiveness practice. You are on the planet at this time to become brighter versions of the light than you believe that you are. You are, as a human, stuffed inside those tiny meat suits, agreed, yes, our dear one told you about these soul agreements, which of course you already knew. You agreed to be in a meat suit at this time to believe in abject unworthiness. You agreed to it. You agreed on a soul level to, underneath it all, at the bottom of your entire belief system given to you by your parents and their parents and so on, you agreed to believe in your unworthiness of God's love, which of course is completely not true, because you are God. You are that love. But you agreed to believe in your unworthiness, and you agreed to forget who you really are. So of course, with spiritual sight, you create all of these challenges, these pains, these problems, these upsets to show you your beliefs about yourself that are blocks to love, that keep you from becoming, as our dear one said, the divine communication for God, divine communication device for God that you are. So what do you do about it? What in the world are you going to do about it? Well, you're in the world, and you must remember you're not of the world. You're in the world of your own creation. You must first accept and allow and see the world you've created. Our dear one shared a few of her creations. She created them so she could be at the place she's at in her life now. Did she have fun while she was experiencing them? Well, she's telling me no, of course not. And you can only experience fun in a world of duality, the third dimensional experience, if you know what fun is or not fun. You must experience the light to know what darkness is. You must experience darkness to know what light is. So no matter where you're at in your experience of balancing the light and the dark, accept it, allow it, surrender to it. Those of you who are struggling with where you're at in your life are not surrendering. You're not allowing a victory for yourself, as one of you said. You're not allowing the alchemical process, as one of you said you wanted to experience. You're not allowing an abundant reality, as one of you is, because you don't believe you're worthy. And you might say, why would I not believe in my worthiness? It's because It's the only belief in this time of human history. If time were horizontal, it's the only belief that humans can have at the bottom of their column of light that's going to allow them to be in a body at this time. It's the belief in the unworthiness of God's love. So I'm calling each and every one of you as students of love and light to dig deep and to find where in every now moment you're creating the reality you have in the world that you see in front of you from your belief in unworthiness. Take a moment now and dig deep for a moment, a few seconds of human time. And find that energy deep in you, deeply stored in your column of light, that believes you're not worthy of God, light, and love. It doesn't matter if you feel it. It doesn't matter if you see it. It doesn't matter if you hear it. It doesn't matter what sense you use to experience it. It doesn't matter if you simply just know it. Just connect with it a moment. We're going to do an exercise together that you will be able to take with you from this experience we have, that you can do repeatedly to help you undo this deep belief in unworthiness that's at the root of everything, that's at the cause of your suffering. Because it's not real. That belief in unworthiness is not truth. Are you ready to begin the exercise? I'll let you each say yes. Use that will that was referred to as your free will. When you're ready, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
We'll ask the leader of the group, do you feel everyone is ready?
Yes, and I would recommend if they feel comfortable with possibly, because you know how the tone in their voices brings everything even to a deeper with
Yes.
you. So thank you for being here. So if you could unmute, girls, and just respond with your tone and your energy. And if you're not ready, then that's okay too.
It is okay. You have free will.
Yes.
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 You hear that someone else is ready too.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, so let's begin. Sit comfortably in your seat, wherever you're seated or lying. Put your feet on the ground if you can. Send your attention down your column of light into your legs, into your feet. into your earth and send your attention to the center of your earth. Leave an anchor there. We'll come get it at the end of our time together. Now, leaving that anchor at the core of your planet, bring your attention back up through the planet, through your legs, your body, your torso, through your vertical column of light, up into the crown, from the crown up into the heavenly realms. At the point in the heavens where all souls meet at the great central sun, leave a tether. We'll come get it at the end of our time together. You are now tethered and anchored between heaven and earth. The magnificent column of light that you really are is now who you are. Now bring your attention back through the heavenly realms, through your crown, down into your heart chakra. And in your heart chakra, which is a green vortex of light, is an infinity loop, the sacred geometric shape that lives in the heart chakra. And where the two loops meet is the 0 point within your body, mind, spirit complex as a meat suit. And it's the 0 point of your vertical column of light. This is where your God love light lives. This is where your spark of light that never goes out, your eternal flame, exists in you. No matter what you're experiencing, no matter your past, no matter the future you're supposed to experience, this God love light is in you. Connect to it. This is who you really are. It cannot be destroyed. It's pure, unconditional love. It's you. Connect to it. See it. Feel it. Hear it. Know it. It's there. Now, knowing that it's there, descend your attention down into your root chakra, which is red. It's a very large vortex of light. It spins at a slower speed. And as it spins, it becomes a pyramid of red light. It's the base of your light that you're sitting on. Sit strong in your light. Now, from that base, ascend your attention up into your second chakra, which is just below your belly button, and spinning at a rate in which the light becomes orange. And as the orange light spins, and spins and spins and goes faster and faster. All that is there about your relationship to people, places, and things in your life is being revealed and made clear and available to you. Take a moment, and I like to say, risk trust, because the reward of trust is love. So risk trusting what you hear, see, feel, or know to be spinning out of that vortex as like a centrifuge that's saying it doesn't want to live there anymore. Perhaps it's some judgment you have about a relationship you have to a person, a place, or a part of your life, or something about yourself. Allow yourself to see it, feel it, hear it, know it. Trust that it's being revealed to you. As someone said, go with your first knowing, your first instinct, your first intuition. When you have it, tell me. I'm going to wait to hear from each one of you. Trust you'll get it. Try it. Do it. When you have it, say, I have it.
Have it.
Have
I
it.
have
Have
it.
it.
I have 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 it.
Has everyone responded that wants to?
Have it.
Okay. I lovingly told our dear one no is a full sentence, but I digress to make you laugh. All right, you have that thing. You are now going to use your light to spin it out of your vertical column of light. You're now going to use the power of your mind to spin your second chakra in the opposite direction. It doesn't matter whatever direction it was spinning is neither here nor there. Just know in your mind, you're now going to spin the energy in the opposite direction and spin that which you have out of your vertical column of light. It's like been a thorn in your side, something that you haven't really quite been willing to undo and let go of. Forgive yourself for creating it. Release it to the Holy Spirit or whomever you want to give it to, who's a benevolent being who will take it and let the universe and the multiverse undo it and transmute it. Spin it out, spin it out, spin it out, spin it out. Use your own light to heal yourself. You're capable, you're able, you can do it. You are the light. When you've done it, let me know.
It is done.
I've done it.
And so it be.
Yes.
Has everyone responded who wanted to?
Done it.
Thank you. Now, take your hands and place them over that 0 point in your heart chakra. Hold your eternal flame, your God love light in your hands. You're worthy of that love because you are a holy child of God. Take that light into your own hands. Pull your hands out to the edge of your auric field. Bring all that God love light around any bits and parts of the energy that need to be returned to the light that, in the process of spinning it out, little bits and parts and splinters and chaotic fractals of light get created. Hug them back into the light with your own self-love. Feel yourself loving yourself. Feel yourself loving yourself. Love yourself as much as you can. Now, return your hands to your heart chakra, your 0 point, your eternal flame. We're going to get the tether and anchor now. Send your attention through your crown up into the heavenly realms, all the way to the point where all souls meet. Grab the tether, bring it down, 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 all the way through your heart and into your root. You're going to store it there. At your root chakra, send your attention through your legs, your feet, into your planet, to her core. Get the anchor, pull it up, 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 up. Bring it through your legs and store it in your root. You have your anchor and tether there now to do this exercise anytime you want, and you will have the recording. So you can do this again and again and again. Every time you observe something that you find that makes you think you're not worthy of being a holy child of God, that you are, do this exercise and spin that energy out. Forgive yourself for its creation. Let the Holy Spirit or whomever you want take it from you. The benevolent beings of the heavenly realms will transmute it. That's their job. Give them something to do. We love you, humans, so much. Feel the love in your 0 point in your heart. And know that we on this side of the veil love you infinitely. In powers of magnitude that are beyond your scope of understanding, yet risk trust. The reward of trust is love. Trust in our love. Trust in the light. It will undo all darkness. I promise you that. I love you all very much, and all you have to do is simply ask, and I will be with you. You'll say, well, how could that be? There's so many of us. Well, I'm a ninth dimensional being, dear ones. I can be anywhere at any time. I am a mind, just like you will be, and already are. Somewhere in the hologram of you, you're already ascended master, and we've all already returned to the light. Remember that, because that's who you really are. Bye for now.
Wow. Well, before we get to the questions, we're starting to run out of time, but if some of you are able to stay for a few minutes after, that's great. First of all, Antoinette and Zequiel, thank you for the invitation that we can have him or join him at any time.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. I love the vision of the tethering and the anchoring. You know, some of you are aware that when I do our, before we usually start each session and we do the chakras, every chakra represents a planet. So most of us are aware, for instance, that our second chakra is Uranus. So it was so apropos when you were saying to spin this way, but Uranus can also go the other way. And Neptune is in our first chakra, and it does. It's slow. So thank you for those of us that have done the planet with each chakra. You'll be able to, and Jupiter, for any of you that aren't aware of this, Jupiter's in the heart, the expansion, right? So, and it's connected to the two hands. So thank you for the tithering and the
You're
anchor.
welcome. You're welcome.
So loved his and your information and the channeling this morning. So I'm going to open it up now, but is there anything you would like to add first before we ask for questions, Antoinette? This was so well done. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, just whatever anybody wants to say.
Okay. So who would like to start? Any questions on how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Yes, Jane.
Okay. Later on, I will connect, hopefully, with you, because there's some personal questions that I have concerning the Arcturians, and the merging of the Arcturian galaxy with the Milky Way galaxy. I felt him beside me. I see a multidimensional being. And I'm so grateful that you spoke about how you worked in the dark, because I've also worked too much in the dark to know the light. 0 point, which is very, very important. And I really resonated with all the key aspects of what you said today. So I really do appreciate, and for me, it's a remembrance. But there's a specific questions I need to ask him as a member of the council that had the work done to the merging of the two galaxies. And it's already been done, but it hasn't come into physical, in our physicality yet. As you know, everything happens at the same moment. I mean, we're working at different levels. So I will connect with you later, but I do appreciate what you have told us today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane.
So good to have you here, Jane. Thank you.
I'd love to talk to you further about that. Well, I don't know anything about that, but I'd love to learn more about that.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Any more questions? Sorry, Rondi, I muted you, my love, because there was a radio or something in the background that we were picking up on.
True. I'm not quite alone, but that's all right.
Okay.
I want to say thank you. That was absolutely beautiful, heartwarming, and very felt in all the chakras. And there was a remembrance to what was being said.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
I'm so glad.
thank you, Zequiel. It was just beautiful. And thank you for being such a wonderful channel. Blessings to you.
Thank you, Rondi.
Thank you, Rondi. I especially loved, because some of us are working on a book that was recommended by Tammy, um, Judith Orloff's Surrender. And it's taking us a while to get through that book because every sentence is an open discussion. It's so good. So it was wonderful to have him start also with the importance of surrendering and why we need to surrender.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're
Any
welcome.
other questions? Antoinette, you're such a great guest. I do hope you come back.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd be happy to come back whenever you'd
Yeah.
like me to.
And girls, please keep in mind that you are more than welcome. I will put her website. I think I've already put it up, but I'll put it up again so you can connect with her individually for your own readings. Yeah. Who else has a question? Yes, Heather.
I just wanted to say thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
did feel a lot of blocks while I was doing it, and but the anchor and the tether, I think, is going to help me reach out from myself.
Good. Good.
Yeah, and I think I've identified a few things while I was there.
Wonderful. You'll have the recording. So Zequiel's legacy of work are called chakra healing technologies. There are 5 on the website. We have 22 that we have brought through, though, and are in the process of being published and recorded. And we have PDFs, we have recordings, and we have audios. You can see them on the website. They might help you, Heather. But they're all about learning how to use the light to heal yourself, and they are different. Each individual one has a different purpose. So this chakra healing technology is unique to Zequiel's work. And it's wonderful that you were able to find things that you feel are blocks. And like he said, just trust and just go with the trust. I think that I think it was Lilly said, into wish it. No, you don't wish that you've had what you found, but on a level of soul, you created it for your learning. So you found it. So that's wonderful. You excavated, you got it. So trust that. And so now you can work with your light to spin it out and then, love back any little bits back into your verticality. And if you take a look at the website, you'll see some more unique versions of different things, and maybe that'll really help you. All of the work there is available for free. So.
Yeah, thank you. I love what I was saying was that when I'm teaching the children intuition, the best way for me to help them all those years ago was into the wish within, the wish. So the
Right.
wish actually comes from another source, right? So it gets downloaded and then it becomes a wish, and then it's up to us to do the work. So why wishes won't come true unless we do the work. Even if it's not physical work, it can also be energetic work where 2 of those lines meet and then the wish comes through us. The other thing, somebody else has to go. Rondi has to go. Thank you, Rondi. Again, I'll send the recording. Love you. Thanks for being here today.
Louise has a question.
Yes, Louise, go ahead. You're muted.
Can't hear you.
She's still muted. You're still muted, lovely. Nope, still muted. You can try to unmute and I'll check to see if anybody else has another question.
I have a question.
Yes, Anne.
It's about soul's purpose and that kind of thing. Does Zequiel talk about that, and if we actually have a soul purpose or if we just have a purpose of being here? It's hard for me to kind of I think on this planet we're taught that if we're not doing something, we're not purposeful.
Right.
And I'm wondering, do we just have the purpose of just being and then learning for ourselves? Or do we have, like, is there specific life purposes, or is that even important? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So the way he works with that idea is to help people realize that there is a ladder to heaven, and then there are levels at which we become confused. So our ultimate purpose is on a global scale to be the light and to humbly embody the light so that we can undo the world and return to source. Now, that's a lofty goal, right? That would be at the top of the ladder to heaven. So we have to go through all this stuff of life to get there. So, like, I had to have an eating disorder. That was part of my purpose. That was part of my purpose in this life, to explore a body, to explore pain on the level of body. You know, our purpose is not always our job, but you could say that on one level, my purpose is my job. But what I've learned is that on the levels of confusion and the ladder to heaven, we each have some kind of purposeful doing thing that we do to get to that higher goal through either the venue of work or relationships or career or some permutation of all of that or two of them. You know, I said I was a single mother. I never made cookies till last week. Well, so I have lessons on career. I obviously worked a lot, but I also have lessons in family too. So they interweave because we're a matrix of light, but ultimately our purpose is to remember that we are the light. But we have all these agreements and things we've created to get us to believe that.
So if we, oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, just a reminder. If we hang out like in these groups that we're in now, and we're rising up our energy, and we're in that space of unconditional love in moments, like I wouldn't say I can sustain it, but so we get into these beautiful spaces of unconditional love, and we pass that out into the world and out, you know. Then we kind of come out of that space. Like I almost find that space easier to be in than I do in my regular life.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're saying you kind of climb the ladder to get there, but for
Yeah.
me, being there is easier than being on the ladder.
So
Can I answer that, Antoinette? You know, you have all the tools, Anne. You have all the tools. We have our 12 energies, our 12 patterns, and we choose each and every day to go into the light or the shadow. And as you mentioned, it's really hard like with Antoinette and the work we're doing with Zequiel. I love the fact he loves the color pink, by the way. And she's got a phenomenal website. You can hang out there all day. There's so much information. But from what I'm understanding, what they're saying is that we are here to serve humanity. There's no other reason. And we talked about that earlier. It could be running a tea company or just enjoying a cup of tea. Maybe I'm only here just to pray every day. It doesn't have to be work. It's our highest potential. It can be, like she was saying, through work and things. But if we're living our highest potential, it means that when we're in ego, because of the work you've done in the past, boom, you get it. Oh God, I'm going into my shadow again. You have the tools to understand that. So that way, then living our highest potential is going to be like this each and every day. But it's up to us to catch ourselves and not somebody else to point it out to us. You already have the tools, especially with all the healing modalities and everything that you have. But serving humanity, that's a big part of why we're here. And like she was saying, it could be just to make cookies for someone that we love.
Yeah, I was a single
I-
mom too.
Yeah.
What Zequiel calls that, which you're
Yeah.
talking about, Anne, which is wanting to hang up in the higher realms, but not do the work of the lower realms.
Yeah.
He calls it spiritual bypassing. Lilly mentioned chakra bypassing. He calls that spiritual bypassing. So although he's very loving and will bring very high frequency information through, he doesn't let us spiritually bypass. He does call people back to the hard stuff, which is doing what you need to do with your due diligence. You know, you're here in the presumably, density of your third dimensional body, mind, spirit complex to do something with that duality. And so you don't get to spiritually bypass and just hang
But if
out in
you-
the clouds.
If we
Love
zoom
that.
into the fifth dimension, then we don't have to struggle so much, I think.
It's true, but you want to be able to undo everything that might
Hold us
bloop,
back.
pull you back. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that spiritual bypass. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Louise, you're able to speak now.
Yeah, yeah. I actually bumped myself out of the group and then it came on and I could see the mute button finally. Thank you. Sorry about that. First of all, I want to express thank you for sharing the pink because no matter what chakra I went into, all I saw was pink. And I was just going, but I'm supposed to see green. Maybe it's the higher heart. I don't know. Why am I pink down in the earth plant, down into my root? So that's really interesting. The question, I have kind of a two-part question. One of them originally was when you're spinning out the chakra, I was also, when you're saying bringing it up into the column of light, I'm sort of seeing a little bit of the torus as that 0 point being the center point of the torus. So it's kind of going all around this way, but then I also want to go up. And so it's creating about which way do I spin it out? Is it up,
I know.
out, down?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure if you can maybe simplify that for me or just let it go
Sure.
where it needs to go out. I don't know.
Yeah. No, our ego, of course, wants us to make it difficult so that you can't actually spin that out. So, but I answer that question by saying to folks, think of yourself as more like a blank piece of paper. If I'm here, I'm spinning it. Maybe I think I'm spinning it this way on a blank piece of paper. So then just spin it the other way. Yes, you are multidimensional and your torus is out here and it's rotating like a giant donut and you're in there and the vortexes are going out this way and out that way. But for the sake of your mind, so you don't get trapped, I just say think of yourself as a piece of paper.
So would you spin it out just the opposite way that it was spinning or go
In your
either
mind.
up to the higher realm and to get
Just
it out?
Nope,
Just
you
out,
just like here's my
expand
second
it outwards?
yeah, here's my second chakra,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm just seeing it, let's say my mind says it spins this way, so then you would just spin it that way.
Okay, and then outward bigger so that kind of moves its way out of your
Yeah,
body. Okay, okay.
okay.
And
And
the
then-
second, and then hug it back in.
Yeah, you'll see
Afterwards?
that on the website if you
Okay,
want
yeah,
to
I'd
take
love
a look
to.
at that. There's a couple videos of somebody doing those kinds of things. So these are hard concepts and our mind
Yeah.
does, it's, don't feel bad about that. It's nothing wrong with asking these questions. These help our ego mind relax so that we can simply do the exercise. I'm glad
Right.
you asked.
So the other one, the question would be, is it possible that out of that soul agreement that we came here, that part of it was, because I feel the opposite of what Anne said is like, I am grounded to the point where sometimes I go, why can't I seem to reach outwards beyond that with all of the work that I've done, energy work? It just feels like, well, no, you're supposed to be here and connect with people on a grounded level. And so is it possible that even if I don't am not able to get to that feeling of connecting to higher realms is just part of the journey of why I'm here right now, is to make my service to this
Yeah,
grounded realm with the work that I do. Because sometimes I beat myself up over that because
yeah,
I feel like I'm not progressing.
yeah, I can understand that. And in Taoist acupuncture, we identify people as the elements, which would be, this would be the head, the middle part of the body, and the lower body. This is water, wood, fire, earth, and metal.
Yeah.
So each person has a different energetic elementally, and it's part of your destiny path and part of your preordained soul agreement to embody one of these elemental types. And
Okay.
Anne's energy is much more up here, and your energy, I can tell you both, I've just looked at everybody's energy the whole time, is more down here. And you have a lot going on here. So of course you would be more grounded, and Anne would be
So
more up in the
even if
heavenly.
we're like with our Ayurvedic, I'm very much fire Pitta energy and fire
That's a-
water. That's
That's
not
a
relevant.
different
Okay.
system. But of course, all paths lead to God. So it's not, nothing's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just from that point of view, it would make sense that you would feel more of a grounded reality, and Anne would feel more of a expanded reality. The goal in Taoism is for every being to embody all elements. So, because several people wanted to feel more balanced and feel good, so it would be able to be both, and up in the heavens and grounded in your reality.
So it doesn't mean that you're necessarily unbalanced, or do you just try to expand on the other ones, or just stay
Yeah.
within
It doesn't
what
mean
you?
it doesn't mean you have something wrong with you. It just means that's what you came in to be primarily, and to undo three-dimensional reality, you want to be able to be both.
Okay.
Think of it as both and, not either or.
Okay. Thank you.
Louise,
Thank you.
in your language and what you've been taught and our language, you're the wise one. She's the elemental. You're more
Okay.
grounded. She's in the air where I am, because I have no earth in my chart. So
Okay.
what she's discussing is basically, remember what the angel realms, angel,
Mhm.
element, wise one, star.
Yeah.
That way you can understand it because you've been taught. It's just another, it's how we use the words, just another different wording. What I'm understanding, and unfortunately it keeps saying that we're unstable, my connection, but so far so good. Sometimes I lose you, but what I am understanding, Antoinette, is we are living body in, I love what you said, the meat jacket or whatever it is. So
Meat suit.
3D, but we're not trying to get anywhere. We don't need to try to get up to the fifth dimension. We're already there. We're already here. We're not working so hard that we need to get to the next level. We're here, but we need to work at letting go of the ego. So that's why meditation is so important, right? Or would you agree? So when we meditate, it's easier for us to shut the ego down and then just let spirit, what I call let spirit have us. So that then we have better access to that fifth dimension.
Well, I'm not a very good meditator, so I mean,
You can
I'm
get
not
there.
going to say that I know that that is an excellent method to quiet the mind, but I'm a little bit more of a restless being, so I might meditate with action through like a walking
Right.
meditation or something. But yes, whatever quiets the mind and shows us where we're going bonkers with ourselves and where we're off track.
Yes. So there again is that thing with words, meditation, because meditation for me is baking a cake. Like when I'm in the zone, I'm meditating. This is a form of meditation.
Yes. Yeah.
Focus,
I
right?
thank you. I thought you meant being.
Yeah, no, but I do, but it also is another way of getting there. But that again is just an example of different, the same journey, but a different word, different
Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question? And again, Antoinette, you're such an amazing guest. So blessed
you.
to have you here today.
Thank you.
Anybody else before we get ready to close off? This is the longest breakfast with soul we've had. We're almost
What
a
time
half
is it? Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly, 11:23. So think about, you know, how we like to close down our meeting, and then I will get back to with a prayer. Yes, Heather.
I was just thinking throughout the whole experience, I was like fear in my gut, and I knew it had to do with my daughter who's living with me, and I realized I have a fear of her anger. And then when you were talking about the chakras, I'm like, my throat is killing me. It's like my throat's always sore. It's been for years on and off. Been to specialists, there's nothing wrong with it. And then I did a quick Google search on the side about throat chakra, and it's if you have a fear of other people's reactions so much that you silence yourself.
Right.
It's like, okay, that puts the two together.
Yep. And then put whatever archetype showed up in your third house. Take a look after we hang up and let me know. And that'll give you some more answers also. That's a great insight, Heather. Anybody else? Karen?
So why the third house, Lily?
It's the house of communication.
Oh, for the throat. Okay. In that case. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I only know this like this because I teach it and I'm on it every day. So when you
I
ask,
love it.
right? But if you put the workbook away and we sit on it now and again, it's harder
Yep.
to quote unquote go deeper, you know. And then we go so deep that we don't even have to look at it anymore, you know, like Antoinette and you know, and Z, I'll call him Mr. Z. I don't think he'll mind. It's just a natural thing then. She just knows who she is and she knows when to step out of the way and let him come in. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful to witness. Barbara, thanks again for suggesting our Antoinette.
You're welcome. I love this group. So you're doing a great job with everybody.
I'm so glad to have you here. You also sent me your Esther. Her and I are still back and forth every now and again. Just love her.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Helped me with my website. Yeah. Any of you need help electronically, Esther is available. Anybody else? So how we like to close this down, Antoinette, is that we all like to leave one word and then I let Spirit do a prayer after and I send it off. I still have a prayer for something that we met with the Karazin group. I have all your words, so I'll get that prayer out soon. But for today with Breakfast with Soul, think about it. Just put your hand on your heart for a moment. And what's the one word that you want to take with you today and give to each other? And then we take that word and we expand it out into the universe. And then, like I said, I'll do a prayer afterwards. So this word is for you, for the group, and the collective. So Antoinette, I'm going to start with you with your hand so lovingly on your heart. What would your word be? And I just need to go here for a moment to type them in. What would your word be?
Magnificence.
Ah, yes. And Jane, what would yours be?
Remembrance.
Brilliant. And Barbara?
Worthiness.
Oh, big one. Okay, and Karen?
Yeah, Karen.
Yeah.
I also was thinking worthiness, but also was just appreciation.
Yes, we certainly appreciate Mr. Z and Antoinette. I love that she's still holding her heart as we do these words. Heather.
Open.
Beautiful. And
Divinity.
what's that again, love?
Divinity.
Divinity. That's the name of my spirit guide. Divinity. Heather, you gave us yours. Open. Tammy.
Allowing.
Yeah. You've been quiet today, though. Allowing. Okay. You're allowed to be quiet. Jackie, are you still there? You came back, love. What's your word for today? Jackie, are you still there, love? No, I know she had to leave us, so she may just stayed on. Linda, what would your word be?
I think gratitude.
Yeah. And we are grateful you are here today.
For sure. Oh, I am.
And Louise.
Transcendence of the 4 archetypes. So the transcendence.
Our patterns. And Sylvie. Do you want to unmute Sylvie and give us your word? No, she hasn't unmuted. We used to say, growing up in Newfoundland, when we were upset, oh my word. So mine is existence. Existence. So I will do something with that whole remembrance, worthiness, appreciation, openness, divinity, allowing, gratitude. Louise, transition of the 4 archetypes, so our patterns. And Sylvie, if you want to unmute, we are open. No, okay. So Antoinette, normally I like to shut down with that word and with a prayer, but you are such a sacred human. And I know you're very humble, but the sacredness just bounces off the screen. Could you just lead us in prayer as we close out today? We can just close our eyes if you're comfortable.
So take a moment, connect with the resonance you feel with each other's hearts. With the word you brought to this closing time. With your eternal flame. With that light we all created around the planet. And bring all that love into your auric field, into your meat suit, into your column of light. And remember who you are. Remember why you're here. Remember how worthy you are. Be grateful for all your lessons. Open to surrender to what's right in front of you. Know how magnificent your light is. Appreciate yourself and each other. Feel love for yourself. Feel love for each other. Feel the divinity of this now moment. Place your hand on your heart. And bring your time in this circle to a presumed close, knowing that the circle never ends.
Amen. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you again for your truth, your transparency, and your love.
You're
and
welcome.
for bringing Mr. Z to us today so that we can connect at any time, and we'll be in touch again. And thank you for being such a magnificent guest today on
You're
Breakfast.
welcome.
Oh,
Welcome. Thank you for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lily, for
thank
being
you.
such a gracious host.
Thank you. Yes, we send you love too, Karen. I love it. Okay, girls, I'll send this. I will be sending this out through emails so that make sure you can download it, and I'll have that to you today so you can listen anytime you want.
Thank you, Lily.
I
Mwah.
love you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Have a great day, everybody. It's just
Bye.
for
Thank you, Lily.
today.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Barbara. Thank you
Bye-bye.
so
Thank
much for
you.
asking
Thank
me
you,
to join.
Antoinette. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Great morning. Bye, everybody.
Lily, I just wanted to know, do you know how to send an unmute request to someone?
And unmute. Oh, I just unmute them. I just mute them. Or
No, to unmute. You can't always unmute. You can't unmute someone?
I never tried to unmute them. I usually just try to mute them because I hear things in the background.
Yeah, I do that too, because it's just
Yeah.
easier than stopping the whole meeting to do it.
Yeah.
Where you mute them on
Yeah.
those 3 dashes,
Yeah. Yeah.
there should be a thing that says unmute request.
Right now it doesn't. Make co-host, rename.